Hey everyone. So this is going to be a very different kind of Skype session. So this week on the podcast, I interviewed Lina Maslo, and she's the author and illustrator of this book, Through the Wardrobe, How C.S. Lewis Created Narnia. And so for today's Skype session, I actually thought I would just record a video of me moving through the book because Lina was kind enough to send me an advanced paper copy before it was actually properly published. And one thing I love about this book is all of the animals everywhere. So if you're reading it with a small child, you can say, where's the mouse? Where are the beavers? So on the inside of the book, there are all of these letters that young children wrote to C.S. Lewis. And you'll see that bookended at the other end. And it begins with the story of Clive growing up and playing with the toy garden. Doesn't he look cute? And his relationship with his brother Warnie, and about how they made imaginary worlds together, particularly the world of Boxen. And all of these images, if you know your Louisiana, you'll recognize them, because they're all things that he and Warnie drew. And gotta find the mouse. And about how they would go on bicycle rides together. Where's the rabbit? There's the rabbit. And this is the story of how Lewis would entertain some of his relatives by telling stories while they sat in a wardrobe. In the podcast, I spent a little bit of time talking about this. So this is the scene where Lewis is talking about the death of his mother and about how he heard people whispering in the corridors, which is just beautifully shown here by the silhouettes through the doorway. But also on the rug itself. So you see Jadis, you see Aslan, and you see Fledge. So you see Narnian themes throughout. Here, Lewis and Warnie go to boarding school. Lewis hates it, and then he gets to meet Kirkpatrick and starts loving it. She actually even addresses that his time in World War I in the trenches, and this is one of the poems that he writes. But even in this bleak scene, there are still mice to find. And this shows Lewis's conversion and his rise as a Christian intellectual. I love this picture. And here the evacuees from London in Project Pied Piper, they come and stay with him. And one of the kids asks about the wardrobe. And this is the idea for The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, which Lewis then writes and Tolkien really, really hates. In the wardrobe itself, and here we have some scenes from the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and we come through to Prince Caspian, the Voyage of the Dawn Treader, the Silver Chair, the Horse and His Boy. Please note that these are all in publication order, which is the only order that the book should be read, and the Magician's Nephew, and The Last Battle. And here she looks at Lewis's love life, how Joy Davidman, who would later become his wife, wrote to him, and about how they eventually married. And you can see Davy and Douglas in the background here. And this is such a sweet picture. When she says, and the children continue to write and ask for more stories about Narnia, but this time Jack was finished. I see him walking through the doorway, Aslan's doorway, hand in hand with Joy. And Reapercheap shutting the door. And then you've got the section at the end of the book, which is, I think, a little bit more for adults, if they want to fill in their C.S. Lewis knowledge or know which order they should be reading the books in. It's publication order only. And I said at the beginning that this book was bookended. So at the beginning you had the letters from children. Here you have the replies from Lewis. And there you go. That is Lina's book. So I'll put links in the show notes, so please go out and buy it for all of the young people in your life. And join us next week when we're going further up and further in.